Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope you enjoyed opening weekend of the MLS. I know I did. There were a lot of great goals, a lot of sloppy soccer, but I got to cheer on my Nashville SC team, my hometown team here in Nashville, Tennessee. But I also got to cheer on all of my players that were competing in my D4 Champions America lineup, as well as my Global All-Star D4 lineup. Gonna have a Road to Glory episode coming out tomorrow where I talk about how those teams finished. I want to wait till I get the rewards paid out so that I can kind of open those on camera with you guys. But for now, I want to talk about what players are in the different tiers, what you have to do to qualify to win a reward in that tier. And for that, Andrew Laird actually put together this helpful tweet that had several images in it that make it really easy. So I'm going to use that as kind of my talking tool. And don't worry, I'm going to tag him on Twitter, link to the video, let him know I did it. But if you guys aren't following him on Twitter, you should. He works for RotoWire, does a great job, produces a lot of their soccer content. It's a really good follow, and you feel free to follow me there as well. But here on YouTube is where I'm the most active and the most engaged. So if you're not subscribed, do that, and also give me a like. But without further ado, so if you're competing in D4 Champion America, first and second will get a star rare, third through sixth will get a tier 1 rare, 7th through 17th get a tier 2, and 18th through 65th get a tier 3. So 65 players will get cards. Top 3 get a card, will also get an ETH payout. And then D3, first place gets a star rare and a tier 3 super rare, so really big payout there, plus some ETH. Second and third get a star rare plus ETH. Fourth get a star rare. 5th through 12th get a tier 1 rare. 13th through 25th get a tier 2 rare. And if you're lucky enough to be competing in D2 and D1, congratulations. You've got an awesome gallery. So moving on down here, let's look at what players are actually in each tier. So for the star tier, you've got a couple guys at the top here who actually play in Liga MX. I'm not as familiar with them, but I did a little bit of research, and it looks like all of those guys would be good players to pick up. So nothing to be worried about there. You've also got a lot of high-end strikers, as well as the top of the midfielders, like Nicolas Lodero and Pozuelo. And then you've also got a handful of goalies in there as well. So if you get a star rare, you're in really good shape, and you've got nothing to sweat about when it comes time to get your reward pulled. Tier 1 is also, a lot of really great players. A couple that are probably a little bit more concerning would be Bobby Shuttleworth, the Chicago keeper. He got the job last year when Kenneth Kronholm went down to an injury. And Kronholm isn't fully healthy yet, so Shuttleworth's starting the season right now, but there's thought that Kronholm will take the job when he gets healthy. And then another couple that are scary are actually all grouped down here together. Putna's in a similar situation. He's in a goalie battle with David Ochoa, who's a really young keeper who is probably going to be the starter in Salt Lake City sooner or later. Christian Espinoza is a really good player, a guy I would be super happy with, but one of his cards just sold at auction for 0.12. So, compared to some of these other guys where you've got, really great keepers and high-end players, probably not the guy I'd want to be drawing here. But I do think he's a value at 0.12 and potentially worth picking up if you're looking for a good midfielder. And then Wondolowski is a, iconic MLS player. I think the leading goal scorer of all time, but he's like 38 years old and just, he had a terrible miss this week. And there was a ball sitting up right in front of goal and he just missed it. It was brutal. But so that's probably not the guy you want to land there. But a couple of high-end guys that would be great to land. You've got Cole Bassett, who's a really, really good young midfielder playing for Colorado. Then you got Jalen Lindsay, Gianluca Busio, excuse me. Two other really, really high-end young players. Then you got Carlos Vela, who's probably the odds-on favorite to be the MLS MVP. Funny situation with him this weekend. He got a little bit of a knock and then came out to kind of get some medical treatment, but he wanted to go back in the game. The coach didn't know that. He thought he was asking to come off the field. Big miscommunication. He got subbed out in like the 20th minute. So brutal outcome for anybody who was playing him this week. But a lot of other, starting keepers. You got Pablo Cisniega. You've got, let's see here. We got Joe Willis, Sean Johnson, Pedro Galese. Bill Hamid's injured right now, but he'll come back and win his starting job. So a lot of good starting keepers here. And then Carlos Heel up in New England. He is the rock of my team, the number 1 player on my team right now. So super excited to have him. That would be a great pull here. So tier 1, you're in really good shape. A couple guys you probably want to avoid, but for the most part, really, really solid options. Tier 2 is interesting. There's some guys here that are awesome. You got Brad Guzan there at the top of the list, who's a starting keeper for Atlanta. Zico Barco, really good young playmaker for Atlanta. You got some Liga MX guys. You got some really good young players in Chicago, Madron, Frankowski. Pineda started every game last year. Didn't get the start yesterday, though, so not sure, Saturday, so not sure what happened there. Frankie Amaya would be a really good pull. Brandon Vasquez is probably one you want to avoid. Andre Shinyashinki would be a good pull. Las Abubakar has an injury, but, would be a solid pull. Price, Rosenberry would be good pulls. Trusty got the start yesterday in place of Las Abubakar. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out once he's back healthy. Eloy Room would be an awesome pull. Ryan Hollingshead would be an awesome pull. Latif Blessing, Eddie Segura would be awesome pulls. Diego Rossi is the most expensive player in the MLS, so that would be an absolutely amazing pull. Personally, I don't think he's worth being the most expensive player in the MLS. There's probably 10 guys I'd rather have than him, but he's young, and I think that's got a lot of people's attention. Young forward in the MLS. He'll probably get sold on to Europe, though, and I think when that happens, I just don't see him being a record-setting goal scorer or anything. I think he'll probably be a substitution piece. But there's a lot of smart people out there who think that he will be great, so that's just my opinion. Rodolfo Pizarro, Jan Gregus, Randall Leal, Daniel Levitz, Walker Zooman, Haney Mukhtar, all those would be awesome. Kessler would be really good. Buxa would be amazing. He's going for about 0.3, great forward up in New England. Has U23 eligibility through July 1st. Maxime Chanot would be a great one. Anton Tinnerholm, Maxi Morales, Mauricio Pereira, all those would be great. Andre Blake would be huge. I think he's the most expensive MLS keeper. So being able to pull that in tier 2 would be crazy. Valeri would be a really good pull. Steve Clark would be an awesome pull. He got injured last night, though. I'm not sure how serious that is, so that could be some cause for concern. But another starting keeper there. Aaron Herrera, Pablo Ruiz, 2 young Salt Lake City guys. Jackson Yules, young San Jose guy. All those would be good pulls. Quentin Westberg was expected to be the starting keeper in Toronto, but Alex Bono got the start, so not 100% sure what's going on there, but that'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. Mavinga's got a knock right now, but he's a really good defender in Toronto. Ivo Akinola's got a knock as well, but really good young forward. That would be a huge tier two pull. Then some other solid guys down there below as well. So tier 2, you're in really good shape. Again, some guys you probably want to avoid, but some guys with huge upside. I think Andre Blake was going for 0.7, 0.8. So getting that in a tier 2 reward would be crazy. And Diego Rossi, right, like 1.5, I think, 1.6. So that's some huge potential for a tier 2 reward if you're able to secure one of those. But don't worry, there's still some good players left for tier 3. Starting at the top left there, Miles Robinson. I mean, it would be huge. He was going for 0.2 before the season. I think his lowest card's around 0.3 right now. He put up a really good game, and his CCL performances were both really good as well. I thought he was undervalued going into the season. I picked up a copy of his. Super happy I did. I think he's going to be one of the more consistent scoring defenders throughout the year, and he also has a lot of upside. So really good option there. If you were able to pull him. Francisco Calvo would be a really nice pull. Just kind of going through the list here. Obviously, tier 3, there's going to be a lot of guys you're not going to be super happy with, but I'm going to highlight some of the guys who would be great. Harrison Afoul killed me this weekend. I was in really good shape. I'll get into that in my Road to Glory series. Pedro Santos, though, would be a really big win. Darlington Navy would be really solid. Bressan would be a great pull. Jesus Ferreira would be a great pull. Keep on going down through here. I looked at all this before. So John McCarthy, starting keeper for Miami, he's probably going to get replaced in the summer transfer window. They brought a guy in from the Eredivisie, but for now he's a starting keeper, so you could either sell him or use him. But yeah, so like I was saying, I looked at all this, but there's just so many names, it's hard to kind of keep it all straight. A lot of good guys who have some utility here, but aren't necessarily going to be season altering for your team. But one guy that would be is Gustavo Bo right here from New England. I don't know how he ended up in this tier. That would be crazy. He's a 0.4, 0.5 guy. Keaton Parks would be a really solid pickup, young midfielder in New York. Eric Williamson, Yemi Chara, Diego Chara, Albert Rusnick. A lot of good options here. Carlos Fierro would be a really big pickup. Nuhu Tolo looked great in the center defense for Seattle. I think he's going to have great all-around scores all season. So that's a guy that if his price drops a little bit, I would be interested in getting in on. But if I could pick him up with a tier 3 reward, that would be amazing. Russell Canouse, Julian Gressel. So tier 3, there's still some diamonds in the rough, if you will. A couple of guys in the, north of 0.2, 0.3. But, there's obviously, this is where a lot of the guys are going to fall that you probably wouldn't be as excited to land with. But, as a reward, a free card, trade them, sell them on, or if they're young, wait and see how they develop. So this is just kind of a summary, right? What you could look forward to, what you can be crossing your fingers, hoping for if you happen to land on a reward. Hope it was helpful for you guys. If it was, give me a like. Head over to Twitter. Give Andrew Laird a follow. Appreciate him putting this together. It's a really helpful tool. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow for Road to Glory when we look at how my week ended up.